Right now to cut down a couple of pine trees that are dead on the property here, and I'm just using it more as a training exercise for a lot of these people, because there's a right and a wrong way to do everything, and if you don't know how to cut a big tree down, you could injure yourself or kill yourself or someone else. So we're going to attempt not to hurt anyone or myself. And there's different ways to cut a tree down, different reasons to cut it down. One is to remove a hazard, to move it because of construction or whatever. And one is for timber, for lumber. I've been involved in all three phases of it. I used to do a little bit of logging, and I've done tree work over all the years I've lived up here in the mountains, and so I wanted to share what I've learned with the CACs that are up here right now. Okay, you put it at arm's length, and you put the top of the stick right at the top of the tree. Okay, then you move your thumb up until your thumb is at the bottom of the tree. You see what I mean? You guys understand what I'm doing?
Yep.
Okay, now to determine the height of that tree, you have to turn it sideways and put your thumb at the base of the tree, and then use a landmark that's about the same distance away from the tree that you are.
Yep, got it.
Then you find the landmark out there, and you go, that's how high the drum. Now, if this was a really high value lumber tree, we would want to make our face cut. It's called a Humboldt cut. And a Humboldt cut is we make our face cut in the direction we want the tree to fall. So when we make our face cut, I want the tree to fall towards my truck. Okay? So make your face cut, the horizontal cut, level in the direction you want it to fall. You never want to go more than 1/3 of the diameter of the tree. And that's really important, because you want the thickest part of the tree. Well, yeah, some people would make their face cut so far and the tree would fall down on the face cut instead of the back cut. Okay, so anyhow, you make your horizontal cut here. Normally, the way I'm going to do it, I'm going to start my face cut coming down from here, because it's just easier. If this is a high value lumber tree, you do what they call a Humboldt cut. So you would start your cut up this way. It's harder to do. By doing that, in front of your face cut from here on up, you haven't destroyed any of the valuable lumber. If you take a face cut out of it, you're making some of the boards a lot shorter. So it's just you get paid not by the tree, you get paid by the foot. So after they cut a tree down, they scale it. There's a scale book, and that's what they get paid for. There's formulas to determine how many board feet of a tree, 3 feet diameter, 70 feet long, or whatever. How many board feet of lumber can you get out of it? If you don't do a Humboldt cut, your log starts at the top of your face cut. They don't consider this part right in here. So every time it goes start. This is a big tree, so I want someone out there to kind of tell me when my saw is level, when it looks level out there. So you take a stake out there. If this tree is 70 feet long, you go out about, at least 50 feet, drive a stake in the ground just a little bit, and if you do the job right, the tree will drive it all the way through. Okay, so that's called driver's stake. But if you're trying to do that with accuracy, a lot of times I would get a little piece of plywood or board, and I would put that inside of this base. And then I have that square edge. And I sight that square edge down, and that's going to give me an accurate angle of this base cut. Okay. My back cut now, I want to come in a minimum of 2 inches higher than the face of this base cut. Maybe 3 inches on this one. It has to be parallel, and you start cutting it in. So you'll see what I'm doing. If you guys want to watch this, you can, over there it'd be good. Always watch the tree. I doubt if it's going to do anything weird, but sometimes this looks like a pretty solid tree. The backside's a little bit weird, but that's the side we're cutting first. Most of the hinge wood looks like it's going to be really solid. And the hinge wood is the difference between your back cut and your face cut. There's going to be a little piece of wood when the tree starts to fall. That's going to be the hinge, okay? And that's going to, so you want that hinge wood, real solid wood, because if not, you're guessing where the tree's going to go, you know? And hopefully not on you. Yeah. So here's a bunch of sap here too. So we want to start that back cut. The reason you want the back cut higher than the face cut is because when this tree falls, sometimes the tree can jump back. And if it jumps back off the stump and you're back here, it can kill you, you know. So you want that difference, because if the tree starts to jump back, it's got that 3 inches of wood that's going to keep it from going back. Because when I start my back cut, I'm going to have the area that the saw cuts out, that gap, it's called a kerf, K-E-R-F. When I get the saw far enough into the tree, I want to, because the tree's already cut down halfway or 1/3 of the way on the face cut, I want to make sure that this tree's not going to come back on me. And it can do that in a windy situation, especially because the wind will gust and it'll push the tree, and then it'll have back motion, spring back, okay? That spring back you want to eliminate, because if it springs back, it could break that wood and the hinge and come back on you. And if it falls this way, it can go anyway. It can go anywhere in that radius right there. You're not really sure where it's going to go. So in order to keep that from happening, I use felling wedges or falling wedges, you know. And these are just plastic wedges, or in this case, this is a magnesium wedge. You know, you have a little bit more lifting power with this. Another thing you can do with these is, let's say the tree was leaning slightly that way, but I want to drop it this way. I can do that. And the way you do it, you know, there's several ways to do it. Well, you can just muscle it with a tractor or something. You can tie onto with a rope and put tension on it with a winch or a truck, and you can pull it that way. Or you can do it without any of that if you use wedges. You can, after you do your face cut, your back cut, get in past, so you can start to drive these wedges in. Start pounding these wedges in, and you'll literally lift the tree. With every time you hit the wedge, the tree will lift a little bit. If you think about how much motion you can put by driving this in, and let's say lifting the bottom a 1/16 of an inch, or a 32nd of an inch per swing. A 32nd of an inch brought up to the top of the tree is probably 3 inches, you know. And so every time you hit it, you're moving the tree just a little bit until you get the tree leaning the direction you want, and then you can finish cutting it down, you know. When you do that, you usually use a set of wedges. You use at least 2 spots in the tree, and sometimes you stack wedges. So you put 2 wedges in so you can lift it higher, you know. You'll notice I have different lengths of wedges. The only reason I have different lengths of wedges, if I'm just cutting like the tree we were cutting the other day, Paul, I would just have this in my back pocket in case this tree was laying across that. You cut in from the top, the tree's going to want to pinch the bar. So you just take this, put it in the top, and it'll keep that kerf open, so it won't pinch your bar. So that's what I use a small wedge for. Sometimes use a small wedge for a small tree because you don't have the room to pound something like this in, and with the width of the bar, you won't have enough room to use a wedge with a wedge that long, so you need a shorter wedge. So they make wedges all different lengths, you know, and materials. Plastic is the most popular. You can notice it's got a double taper on it, so it's skinny, so you can start it easier. And then most of these wedges have got some kind of a texture on them, and that's to keep them from slipping out on the tree, you know. Because sometimes you can hit these wedges and they'll just bounce right out. You know, there's so much pressure on them. So I need someone to guide, to be on my other side to tell me when my bar is level and it's going to come out. I want to make the cut that's going to come level, and I want the bar, my finished cut is here, and it's going to be this high above. I think. So you have to get over there and just kind of tell me, flip the bar this way or up or down. Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna hold up that.
Real dark stuff. That's pitch pine.
Good stuff.
That's really good fire starter
I
stuff.
got some in my truck too.
And you can see it in here. Right in here, this dark stuff, that's pitch pine there.
So Bernie, what if you would have what's a proper term when you cut all the branches off?
Limit?
Limit. Okay, so if you would have done that, would it still have jumped that far?
Yeah, it probably would have. Yeah. Well, maybe not quite so much, because I'm sure all the total foliage, branches, and everything is called a sail. You know, when you're dropping a tree or burning a tree, and a sail this big, and the wind was going this way, so I'm sure the wind probably brought an extra foot. And,